Sorry.
Yeah,
quick,
no worries. I'll wait till I get it. Okay.
Making sure we're connected here. Hey guys, sorry about that. We came down for a few seconds. My Chrome crashed. So we are continuing on from Mike was pitching or was telling us about the Starfarer compendium?
Yes. So the Starfarer's Companion is what it's called. It's a 234-page book, and it basically Owen, who was the lead designer, Owen Stevens, for Starfinder, picked out stuff from Pathfinder you knew people would want converted over. So if you want to play Magus or a lot of the weird races, or a variety of different classes, it's there. It's great. It's $20 for the PDF. You can order a print, and I mean it's pretty good authority on the design because he was a design lead. So.
He knows what he's doing.
Yeah. I hear that's true.
Ooh.
Oh,
and Liz, you were saying?
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
So I was sorry, I lost my train of thought in the gap. I'm the treasurer on the board of directors for the RPG Creators Relief Fund, which is a nonprofit organization that's dedicated to helping game creators keep creating when stuff in their life makes it financially difficult to do so. And we've had some really, really great support coming in for the first half of this year, which puts us in this really strong position to review grant applications. And the timing is really good because there's a lot going on right now with Houston having a lot of trouble, with most of the western third of the United States being on fire, which incidentally, we are getting smoke here in Ohio from the fires out west that's coming across the entire country.
You know what's funny? Even though it's 100-something, it's not on fire here yet in Arizona. Well, north
Do
of
you have
the
anything
state
to burn in Arizona?
Yes.
Yeah, I was gonna ask.
We have it every year, like up north. I think we actually have something in Payson that's burning. But anyway, that's normal. That's not bad fire. That's good fire.
Right on. Yeah, prairie fires are, if controlled, they're not bad. Anyway, more to the point. And then with Hurricane Irma coming through the southeast, we're in a place where a lot of game creators are in a place to be affected, and we're just in a really good place. So if I can shout out a little bit, I get nothing out of this. We're a nonprofit board, but if you are a game creator or you know a game creator who's struggling because of some of the stuff that's going down right now, send them on over. It's rcrfcharity.org, and put in an application. If you are not affected and want to support game creators, you can also go to rcrfcharity.org, and we do take one-time and monthly donations to keep our work going.
Awesome.
Yes, it's totally awesome.
I actually have a thing that's actually pretty close to that. If you would let me segue into that.
Yeah, please.
Nazi Smasher? Is that what you can talk about?
No, I'm involved in that somewhat, I hear. Mike, do you still
what
want that picture of that golem thing?
Golem thing? Oh, no.
Okay,
I ended up
okay. We didn't go with that? Alright.
If you go prone, you have to make a save or you get sick. It's pretty
Okay. So the Hurricane Harvey Relief Fund Bundle is on drive-thru. The title's a little self-explanatory, but yeah, it's proceeds are going to that, so give it a look. There's like $400 worth of product in there. It's great. So give it a look.
What's the URL if someone wants to find that?
It is currently on the front page of drive-thru. But I don't
Is that
have
drive-thru RPG?
Yes,
Yeah.
drive-thru RPG.
I will put some URLs in the chat window.
We will put. I'm pulling it up for people to see. It is by Fainting Goat Games. I have never.
A great name.
It is awesome.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's super solid.
They've been around for a while.
Yep. Proceeds
Mike's a
will be split
fan.
between the Hurricane Harvey Relief Fund and the
Probably.
Coastal Bend Disaster Recovery Group Fund. I think it's pretty cool. Anyway, good on you guys, Fainting Goat Games.
Heck yeah. And I'm glad to see gamers as a community coming together to help people when stuff sucks. It's really, it's sort of like we do all this, this pastime, and for some of us a career that is based around sort of empathy building and putting ourselves in other people's shoes. So it's really nice to see that get put into action when we need to.
Definitely. Savannah, you got something this week?
I do not right now, actually. So I am good to move on if everyone else is.
I definitely am.
You can talk about. I guess it's not till the 30th. All right, never mind. All right.
Yeah.
Pathfinder, Starfinder, News and Speculation. I've been unbelievably busy this week, so I have not read past where I got to the other time, which is the first or second page of themes. So,
Do we want to go over a little bit of this? Because we've kept people going for a while here.
Savannah, have you gotten into it at all yet or not?
I have not. My kidneys have been ramping things up, so it's
Boo.
exciting. Yeah, I'm
kidneys.
on meds for it now, which is
Well, that's
exciting.
good.
Here,
Have you made
Yes,
Pathfinder
apparently.
stats for your kidney stones yet?
I haven't made them for the stones yet. I figure I'll make them for my kidneys. They definitely inflict con damage. I'm trying to figure out if it's per minute or per round. It probably depends. You may have to roll a percentile table.
Oh my god, you
Um,
should work in kidney stones as a rules mechanic in Spiders and Souffles.
oh God.
You know, I could.
You could. You could.
I don't know that I want to talk about kidneys ever again once I actually like get rid of this problem, but we'll see. But yeah, no, I totally got to slightly baffle the pharmacist when I went to go pick up my meds for it, because what I got is a medication that was originally developed to help people with enlarged prostates.
Oh.
And not looking classically like someone who has a prostate, the pharmacist was very confused, but it turns out it dilates your plumbing in there and lets the kidney stones get out faster and all that jazz.
Oh, well, that's good.
So,
That's my
Good luck.
news.
Liz,
Is it your favorite new project?
Yeah. Kidneys.
So, Liz, as you got to be an editor on that stuff, can I pick your brain on a few things that were a little standing out? As
Sure,
much as you
please
can talk
do.
about it? But yeah,
Absolutely.
So, you said you had some things that irked you too, so irk away. Without going too much into it, like I said, there's that weird disconnect between, like, size not mattering that much in player characters and mattering a lot in ships. The ship rules are really heavy to build things with, but once you start seeing the stats of them, you're like, okay, I see how this works. But I'm really scared that's going to scare off a lot of, like, new players or rules light players. Like, to figure out the
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can definitely see that, and I wonder how much of that is that we're used to player character rules.
Yeah.
And so looking at a class description is pretty straightforward for us, and then the starship system is just all new.
Mhm.
And so in a lot of ways, I think it's putting us into the shoes of someone who's not played an RPG at all, who has to learn everything from scratch, and it is intimidating. And I think the reality of it is a D20 system is, and games derived from it they're heavy. There's a lot to take in.
Yep. Ask my wife when she tried to learn. But yeah, it's stuff like that. It's like the things that you have to learn kind of two systems for the game a little bit. But there's enough
Right.
interplay that you get it, but that's a lot to keep in working memory for a person.
It absolutely is. We found in our group, in both organized play sessions and in my home sessions, that having a cheat sheet for starship combat helps
Yep.
immensely.
Yep.
I was wondering also if it might be handy. So in vanilla Pathfinder, vehicle rules are incredibly unhelpful
Oh yeah.
in a lot of ways. So I was wondering if you could like retrofit, like if you wanted a vehicle of some sort to be more integral to your experience.
A little bit, yeah. I mean, they do a
Yeah,
good
I
job.
think you probably could. I guess it's probably worth pointing out that Starfinder actually has three sort of levels. You've got your player tactical, you've got your starship combat. There actually are specific vehicle rules, non-starship ground vehicle rules, and they're I will confess I'm not super similar with vanilla Pathfinder vehicle rules, but these strike me as being
pretty
very similar to that.
Yeah.
They're clunky. Yeah, and I don't know that non-starship vehicle combat was not a huge focus in Starfinder. I think people are going to be way more excited about starships, quite frankly, because
And
that's
it
more
was pretty
fun.
cool.
They are much more exciting.
One thing I also realized was the class like design paradigms are like Pathfinder turned up to 11. Like I love the Envoy where it's like you have the intro page with the artwork, you have the next page which has a class table and all of the class features, and then you have like 4 or 5 pages of talents, and I'm just
Options. Yep.
I'm just like, yep, that's Pathfinder. That's like all Pathfinder right there.
Yeah, a lot. It reminds me a lot of the Investigator. It's like you have
Yep.
3 class features and then all of these things, or yeah. It works pretty well in a couple different ways, though. You can sort of pick your own level of complexity.
I also like the themes. Obviously, I love the whole way you can just blend it. I love the build thing at the bottom where it's just like, here's 10 ways to play the soldier. You know, here's 10 ways to be an operative. You thought this was only a rogue? You know, tut tut tut. You know,
Yeah, and that's something that I really like that I think makes it a lot more accessible to newer players. Likewise, I'm really some really nerdy things that I love about this book. There's a great character creation walkthrough at the beginning that goes through and gives you examples of how to do stuff and shows you all of the moving pieces so that if you've never played an RPG before and you've got this character sheet and you're like, you've got someone holding your hand and walking you through it. Likewise, we have a really badass index in Starfinder. And as an editor, that was sort of something we kind of dug into and made sure was working really well, and it came out really well, and I'm really proud of how it came out.
One of the other things that I noticed...
One of the things I always credit Paizo with, because like the 5e books are nice, but their index is just a giant piece of shit. It's like, where's the thing? Go to see this other thing, and then it's not where the thing like.
Oh no! It's like a red herring index.
Not helpful.
One of the other weird, one of the other weird paradigms I noticed that we didn't see in other ones, and I'm still not super comfortable with. I get it as a mechanical perspective, but not as a in-game. There's a little wonk is using equipment as class features, kind of like the operatives class feature calls out. They have a cloaking device that does this, and
kind of like the gunslinger-esque.
Except it's just baked into a class feature. It doesn't explain how much you get it or anything. It just kind of is like, you have a cloaking field. It works this way.
It works this way. It's much like the mechanics drone. You've got this little drone thing that is an object that's separate from you, but yet only mechanics can build them. Yeah, it is kind of an interesting design situation.
I'm going to see how that plays a little bit more before I get the torches and pitchforks, because that's something I really avoided. I've gone that direction. And we did a book of advanced item use, which is about that stuff, and it's like, and I had to really, and people gave me so much crap for being like, for that, and then like Starfinders, and I'm like, they did it too, so is there anything that you just need to get off your chest about that book that you're like, I love this or I hate this?
I think it's beautiful. One of the things that I never get over being an editor is, I'm working in Word documents the vast majority of the time. If I'm working in a PDF, it is like the jankiest, most broken PDF ever. Mm-hmm. And so then seeing the materials that I work with become this, and really in the case of Starfinder, I think our graphic design team did a phenomenally good job of making that into a gorgeous, gorgeous project.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I got the developer PDF, and it's made me sad when I was like, oh no art, no. Yeah.
No.
So, do we want to move on to the next section?
Sure.
No, actually, I wanted to ask if did you get to work on Pathfinder Unchained at all?
I did a little bit, yeah.
Okay, so I have this speculation that one of the things they were doing when they made Pathfinder Unchained was planning rules that they could translate into the Kingmaker game.
You mean the single-player game that's coming out in the next...
the computer RPG, because normally you can't use the OGL rules to make a computer game. It's like expressly forbidden by it. Yes. That's why I like, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good question. I will actually have to claim ignorance on that one. I am under the impression that the Kingmaker game was sort of decided on and enacted long after Unchained happened. I am trying to think about timelines. I know Unchained came out about 2 years ago. So...
Scott,
you have computer game development. When do you think they started working on Kingmaker versus when we saw videos and stuff?
It could be very... There's a lot of tricks you can use. So one of the things with making games is you can literally go ahead and be like, we have built... Depends how you want to build it. Because you can literally go ahead and be like, we're building the entire architecture, and then the last thing we're doing the art assets. But companies really hate that, and developers really like it, because they get to go make all pretty things first. What they might have done is gone, all right, we need this thing bare bones functional here so we can have video of it. Go. And that's probably what happened. Though the system itself, the basics are not exceedingly hard. Depends what engine and how much they had to build from scratch. But honestly...
We gotta get one of those Owlcat Games motherfuckers up in here.
Yep, but I mean,
we gotta do.
That'd be fun, actually.
That would be kind of cool.
But yeah, definitely, it's one of those things where it depends on a million different factors. But I mean, honestly, a game for that, 5 years ago, the developing time for a game like that was 2 to 3 years. But I guarantee you it wasn't 2 to 3 years But that
Yeah, because
probably
they're
was
still working on it.
Yeah.
So like,
So
Okay.
my
Yeah.
guess is probably came out afterwards. I think it's kind of a chicken egg situation where you're gonna see something like, okay, so we need to do some dancing around the OGL language. We have this thing already in Unchained. Maybe we can tap into that.
I mean, they could have been just thinking if we make a video game, or maybe we'll use it in Pathfinder Online, or
Maybe. I mean, I think we see a
although
lot
the
more.
Pathfinder Online stuff was already implemented, so it would have
Yeah.
been a really weird thing. To
Right. Well,
stop
that may have come the other way. But at that point, I was only doing freelance editing. I didn't have as much insight into the workings of things. I guess I should back up and clarify. I work for Paizo full time. I'm a full time contractor in the editorial department, and so that's kind of a cool gig. I'm not a real employee, quote unquote, but so I do see a lot of how the sausage is made in the position that I have. What I will say is that a lot of the things that were developed in Unchained stylistically and sort of functionally have carried over into Starfinder. There are a lot of parallel ideas there.
Oh yeah, we definitely could tell that was like the Pathfinder 1.5 kind of deal.
And it works well. The stuff that they saw worked well in Unchained. You can definitely see that translated directly into Starfinder.
Yeah, and there's going to be more of that coming. I mean, I think
good.
I'm almost positive it's already been announced, but the monster creation rules for Alien Archive coming out in November. That's they're very heavily based on the Unchained monster creation system.
I mean, that's not a bad thing. I like that part of it.
I love it. It's so streamlined.
Well, I gotta check out. I didn't even know the Unchained had a monster creation system.
Oh,
I'm a
it's
big
so
fan of the
fast.
standard one.
It's so fast. It's kind of array based, which is to say, as an editor, you get to edit lots of horrible tables. But as someone who's trying to put together a monster really, really fast, it's really fantastic. I'm a huge
Well,
fan.
thank you for your sacrifice. Because tables.
But I don't like dropping tables
it's
in
a
my
thing I do.
PDFs, though, either. There was something I was about to say. Oh, I spaced it. Were you...
Unchained, Starfinder, Monster Creation, Alien Archive.
Oh, I remember what it is now. Thank you. That worked. So one thing I still am not happy about as much, I like multiclassing, and they basically, there's that whole section in Starfinder that's basically like, you can multiclass, but you won't be as good.
But it's gonna suck.
It's gonna suck. Like, and I'm like...
I hate that.
I get they try to replace it a bit more with the archetypes, the all classes archetypes, and the themes a little bit. But sometimes I still want to do, and it's like it does not play it well at all with that.
It doesn't play well. It's really not designed to be able to do that, I think.
Yeah.
And I think that's sort of, I mean, to some degree, that gives you a little bit more flexibility within each class, and that you can go diverge more without having to think about, oh, but what if someone takes 1 level of this and 3 levels of this?
Mm-hmm.
So that's, I can see where that decision came from. But yeah, if you want to play something that's going to dip a little bit into 2, you're going to be really bad at both of them.
Yep.
That's unfortunate. That's part of what I liked about Pathfinder from 3.5. It's like, oh man, I can do all these weird multi-class things. Though, admittedly, it can get a little ridiculous.
I had the multi-class fail the experience, the character who just, was 2 levels in 5 different classes and too much, burned myself, learned my lesson.
I did actually in the NPC code.
I bet your saving throws were great, though.
Yeah. In the NPC code
But I'm sorry,
out, I actually have a character who's 1 level in 10 different classes or something. I played him in a game once, so I actually knew how to build him. It's pretty funny, dude. Wilt's from Saint to Savage or something is what his name is. Because he had a shifting alignment thing, so he can go from Paladin to Barbarian at one point. It's beautiful.
The general way that it works out for multiclassing, in depending what system you're in, but generally it's if you multiclass, you get to be Superman and have lots of different fucking abilities like super weaving and super breath and everything at low levels. But then as people get up in higher level, you lose your potency, so that extra utility becomes less effective.
Yep, that's exactly what I found.
Yep.
It's I could do a lot of different things, but I couldn't do any of them well.
Yeah, jack of all trades, master of none.
Bingo.
You know what the weird thing about that statement is? The jack of all
that
trades,
it means
master
the opposite of.
Yeah, it means
but
the opposite.
better than a master of one.
Yeah. It ends like that, and it's one of those things where it's it actually means the opposite.
Well, it's like blood is thicker than water. Doesn't mean what people think.
Yeah, it's the opposite as well. It's in the water of the womb, something like that too.
The blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb.
Yeah.
So at least classically, minus the like original religious context, it's like the bonds you choose are more
Stronger
powerful
than the
those of
family bonds.
Yeah.
Interesting. I personally have a lot of identity with that. Not that I dislike my family, but yeah. So
Yeah, I think gaming is a lot about chosen family.
In the SCA, we always call it chosen family. So yeah, are we good on Pathfinder? Want some more? No, it's more.
We could talk about Nazi Smash. I guess I'll mention it.
Yeah, Mike, this
We're
is
getting
good.
a website. So, this is a weird thing that happened. So Pathfinder is switching over from payment on publication to payment on acceptance.
Which is terribly exciting.
Yeah, it's great. But they sent me an error check. Like, I'm pretty positive that they paid me for Heroes of the Street. They were like, we didn't have the box checked. And I was like, well, do you want me to tear up this check or send it back or what? And then I sent another email. I was like, incidentally, I have this charity project. And if you want me to just keep the money and spend it on advertising, like, I'll happily do that. Well, I mean, I don't want to keep ill-gotten gains, but if I'm spending it on a good thing, then whatever.
Right.
I'll take their indirect donation. So I have $140 to spend on it. So then I told Order the Amber Die, who are doing like a live playthrough on November 30th, which I can't wait to fucking watch. It's gonna be so dope. Yeah, like I gotta make character pawns for him, and he's making the maps now, and like, yeah. But they bought the website URL OperationNaziSmasher.com, and they're gonna make like a little website for it, and then we're buying space on D20 PFSRD to tell everybody first about when the Order of the Amber Die thing goes down, and then when it releases. And if you want to buy it, that'll be in October, and all profits go to the SPLC, the Southern Poverty Law Center, and other anti-hug groups, because obviously Operation Nazi Smasher is about smashing Nazis.
Savannah, did you get to contribute to that too?
I did not. I was
Not
wanting
directly.
to. Yeah, not directly. I was wanting to actually be part of the Amber Die playtest, but I have to be at Geek Girl Con that weekend. So I'm going to claim, hey, I put Mike and the Amber Die founders in the same room.
Yeah.
Look at me.
She did. You did a very good job.
I wrote 2 rooms. I was going to write a shit golem, but we've cut it, so I couldn't.
He said, Adam said that they got 2 lady players and 4 dude players, so they'll match up with the like genders of the pre-gen characters.
Awesome.
Yeah, I was like, what? That's like, damn, that's detailed, son. Like, what?
Yep, I've been talking to one of the guys. He's doing one of the Veloci's classes, apparently.
Oh, he's the speedster.
So it's like,
Minuteman.
yeah, he's like, I will.
Minuteman.
I will definitely talk to you about the Veloci's, Dan. Do not worry.
Oh, yeah. So that'll be cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Did
yeah.
you
Like,
start news for us after
it's
this?
awesome how, and like we started it August 17th or 20th
It's right
or something.
after Charlottesville, so yeah.
Yeah, and we've 20,000 word adventure, and like I'm waiting on 3 illustrations and then the cover by Claudio Pozis, which I'm still just like, what? And because normally Claudio is very expensive, but yeah, he jumped in and offered to volunteer, and then John
That's
Wick
cool.
might do the foreword, and yeah, everything's on schedule, and we should be able to get some money into the hands of charities before Christmas.
Cool.
Ooh.
Punch some
Yeah.
Nazis.
Nice stuff.
Yeah,
So
that's good.
I think
5e news and speculation.
so. 5e news. What you got, Mike? I've been playing it. I haven't been reading about it.
I have the Empyrea Kickstarter. So I'm
Okay.
the crowdfunding engineer and media coordinator for Frank Mentzer's Empyrea Kickstarter. Frank Mentzer is one of the guys who originally worked on D&D, like way back in the day. He made the Red Box, which is for a lot of people their very first introduction to D&D, because that was the first thing that got translated into other languages. So he has this campaign setting called Empyrea, which technically is on the continent of Aquaria, which is on the same world as Greyhawk. Greyhawk is on the continent of Orid across the Great Sea, or Salinoran Sea, I think it might be called. And it's all on Orth, like O-E-R-T-H. But this is not connected to that directly. He has this note from Gary that gave him explicit permission to print his own Empyrea material, and like what he can reference and so on. It's very specific, and he's already printed it before in the past, but like now he's making this like huge effort to release an old school role playing box set,
Cool.
and I'll be talking about it for the next 2 months because it has taken over my fucking life. But no, I'm very happy
what a
and
cool
honored to be
project.
working on it. But yeah, right. Like, I mean, it's awesome to be strapped to the rocket. It's just like, God, for once, I'd like to have a seat and a parachute and like a helmet. You know, like
Not allowed.
just one time. Oh my
Would
God.
you really, Mike? I don't think you'd know what to do with
A
yourself with a
helmet
reasonable
would be good.
schedule.
You know, just the
You'd be like a
helmet.
parachute. What do I do with this? Wear it? Wrap it around myself? Are they shoes?
Shoulder. Put it on the
There
shoulder.
you go.
But yeah, it's gonna be really dope, and he's got all these people have been crawling out of the woodwork. I'm not allowed to release the list of like celebrity industry legend folk, but it is very daunting. Yeah.
What? You said Gary Gygax is coming back from the dead to write this? My God! The
Grab a
necromancy!
shovel.
Yeah, no,
It's
no,
that
Gary.
important.
And he has not talked to the Gygax entire estate. He has talked to several Gygax family members, and they're all super cool about it. So,
Cool.
yeah, we're launching on October 2nd, and you can go to worldsofempyrea.com, EMPYREA, and there's a newsletter you can sign up for. And I don't know, I'm the media coordinator too, so I have this giant calendar of press things, and there will be a lot of stuff in the 6 weeks around October 2nd. Podcasts and Reddit and articles.
That's coming up so much sooner than I really want it to.
Yeah, same
Time.
boat.
Holy God! Hey, I got a thing for us. It's Pathfinder.
Thing.
I hope you don't mind. I just literally got the message like 2 seconds ago. We just had someone, a fan of ours, go convert everything that a bunch of stuff we wrote to 5e. That's cool.
Oh.
Cool.
And they have prettier artwork than I had for my own book.
That's awesome. Fan
So-
products are the best, dude.
But hey, it's Cody Martin. So if you guys haven't ever met Cody,
Oh,
Cody's
Cody.
awesome. Yeah. But Cody.
That's actually how
Cool.
Nazi Smasher started, because Steve, for whatever, I think it was because I was running some games for him at a convention, he made all these World War II superhero pre-gens, and they were just like
Oh.
sitting around, and then Nazis showed up, and I was like, well, fuck me, I have all these superheroes.
Right.
Oh, fuck
It's
me.
really cool artwork on there, but it's like it's a much cooler piece than like I had, and I'm like, all right, dude, that's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, as long as he's not making a profit from it.
No,
he's allowed to
and I
do
give him
whatever he
express
wants.
permission to do any of this stuff, convert anything over to 5e, because I'm not converting it over due to the product identity stuff and the IP stuff. So he's doing it as a fan project, and I'm like, go for it, bro. I may even link on our site to his stuff. So
Cool.
Max would like to say that he is personally against the Gygaxian ideology of the GM's word is law, but they also had it where the GM should know every minute of every encounter and the weather shifts to even landscape on the land map you're supposed to have made, which is in line with Max's complaints about the way I run a game. So I can see how you feel that way, Max.
I think you should have narrative control. You're not in a real world. You're in a narrative. That's me.
I mean, I don't know. The way I do it is like literally, if you don't follow the plot, like that's okay. Like
Exactly,
go
that's
and do
what
this
I'm
other
saying,
thing, and we'll do it, and there will be consequences for it. But like, I'm not your mom. Do what you want. Like
No,
fine.
that's what I'm saying. I'm saying like the GM doesn't need to know every nook and cranny because he can create those on the fly, or she. Or
Oh, you
whoever.
see, that's what I do. Like
yeah,
whenever
yeah.
I want to do an adventure, I just end up making a campaign setting instead.
Yep, exactly.
So like, it's not a very time-effective way to run your games. Everyone, just like FYI, not the
It's
best
really
way
not.
to do it. It's fun and awesome, but
I have like 4 sitting there because of that. Yep, that's exactly. Mike, we have the same brain here when it comes to GMing.
yeah.
That's
Oh,
a
you
scary
guys-
thought.
Really don't want to play Shadowrun? Fine! Here's how we play Shadowrun in Pathfinder. Yeah!
It only took me 24 hours, and I haven't slept, and I just downed 4 monsters, and here's 40 pages of content. I've gotten them edited, of course. You know.
Yeah, it's like I think my heart's fluttering slightly. Maybe I should sit down for a second.
My left arm is hurting a bit.
You know?
After I can see clearly, we're gonna continue this.
Yep.
I'm gonna roll my D20. Oh my God, where am I? So, are we good to talk about other RPG stuff?
Yeah, I don't think I have any other 5e news.
I don't, unless you guys do.
Liz, say anything?
Not that I can talk about. I know, like,
Okay.
there's so much cool stuff
Oh,
coming.
no!
So,
there's your
guys,
teaser
you heard
for
it here
tonight.
first.
Okay.
There's cool stuff coming in 5e.
Sure. Yes.
Exclusive
Oh, yeah, I'm in
break.
totally in the wrong section. I'm really good at this, guys.
So, Mike, you got something about RPG miniatures?
Well, we got a new section.
Oh yes, our new
But,
section.
Yeah, I was talking to one of the people I have to talk to for Empyrea because, like I said, it's taken over my life. And I mentioned to him because he's like way into the Euro market for gaming and stuff. I was like, "So, what do you think about like Games Workshop? Is like, are they panicking? Do they see the blood on the wall?" And he's like, "Nah, no. They do this every like 4 or 5 years, and he doesn't expect the like cost for home 3D printing and miniatures to like hit like an effective point, because although the material you use is really cheap, it's the maintenance on your 3D printer that like eats up your fucking money. So it costs like 5 times as much right now to reprint like a Warhammer miniature at home as opposed to buying it at the store." Now he said 15 years. I was like, I don't know about that. I feel like technology is way faster than that. I'm thinking like 5 years. But, like,
Probably, but
but
for
they're not
right
worried.
now.
yeah, much longer, further away than I thought it was actually. Like I was like 2 years maybe, but like 5. Yeah, it's a while. So yeah, that was my news. That was all. I was just
Okay.
something because I know I talk about it a lot, and I love
Yeah, we would
I
definitely
love
want
Warhammer 40k so much. So like, I'm on the freelancer list for that motherfucker.
I'm kind of on the flip side of that. I'm actually a huge fan of Hero Forge because you can customize your mini and have them printed exactly for you. Yeah,
look.
right. And
right here.
yeah, I have
have
like
one on my
6
desk,
downstairs. Yeah.
Yeah, I have Old Man, but like Old Man was $30,
Yeah.
which is
Right. And so it's sort of like, is that, if I got my own, what would that look like? But the maintenance costs, I have no idea. I don't own a 3D printer.
Yeah, I hadn't considered that, and he was like, it costs a lot of money to replace it. If you're replacing like a regular part, it's like, I forget what he said, a minimum of like $25, and then if you're replacing like a metal part, it's like up in $100 or more.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so like,
And I assume
Yeah.
that the warranty on those things is not.
Doesn't exist.
I would probably not amazing. Yeah.
But
Kelly
probably
has
not for
gone
things
on
that
an
require
adventure,
routine
hasn't she?
maintenance.
There you go.
So,
There we go.
I mean, yeah, I guess you can't just sit there and
Yes.
print up Gaunt's Ghost's army and then not have to replace parts on your 3D printer
Yeah.
before you're done.
Right, now that's legit.
So that, yeah, no, that was a cool insight that I got. We mentioned this a little bit at the end of the thing, but I wanted to bring it up again. Liz, were you at Gen Con?
I was.
Oh, she
Okay,
looked
so
awesome
I-
at Gen Con. We need some pictures of that.
It's like 4 feet away from me. I can take my headphones off and show you pieces.
Sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Let's see.
go for it.
Alright.
That was like a throwdown, all right.
Got this.
Oh, I have seen pictures of that.
Oh, that's
Okay,
awesome.
yeah.
Oh yeah,
This
no,
is my
that is.
static arc rifle. It is built on the specs from the Starfinder core rulebook, right down to the fact that it has a stun setting.
Ah.
Love it.
Very
And
cool.
we've got another one here, but it's I mean, my whole guest bed right now is covered with armor pieces and
That's so cool.
costuming bits.
That is amazing.
It was a lot of fun.
Well, okay, so what I wanted to say was branding has picked up a lot since last year, and I'm thinking that like the big businesses are starting to realize like, oh, these people grew from like $1 billion to $1.4 billion last year. Like, let's get in, you know? I don't know. Did you notice that? Because like, there's always branding at Gen Con, but like, I was like everywhere I turned in the dealer's room.
Like the Bob Ross stuff that we talked about last week.
Mhm.
Well, yeah, Bob.
Oh, you
that
mean
was
like
public domain.
licensed product?
Yeah, licensed
basically.
product. Yeah. I mean, there was no giant floating Pikachu balloon, unfortunately, this year. I really like that, actually. But, like, yeah, I don't know. It seemed to me like everywhere you looked, like there's Street Fighter something, or Dragon Ball Z this, or
Buffy? There's Buffy stuff,
Oh.
I think.
Buffy, sure.
Yeah, I feel like maybe there might be something happening, sort of thinking in a meta sense, if sort of the larger world of intellectual properties is realizing that gamer culture actually has a large fan base and a lot of money to spend,
Mhm.
or at least that's where we're willing to put our money. And so there are probably a lot of people who would not have considered a licensed deal, 2, 3, 5, 10 years ago, who now realize, hey, wow, this is actually a good move. Let's do it.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So it wasn't just my paranoia. Like
Hmm.
there is some.
There's a lot, yeah.
Places. Okay.
Oh no, Mike, there's totally someone out to get you, but the licensing, you were separate.
Everyone's out to get me. All right. That's it. That's all I got for RPG business.
Cool.
Yeah. Same.
So other RPG.
Other media of interest.
Yeah. So I got a few things here. So a lot of Netflix stuff actually really weirdly just all happened this week. There's a new Magic School Bus, but it's not Miss Frizzle, it's her younger sister.
Oh, is that her
Mm.
sister?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
her younger sister, but Miss Frizzle's also in the series. I don't know if I'm in love with the art style, but it'll.
As long as the school buses are the same size,
Yeah.
I don't think there'll be a problem.
No, it's fine. The art style, I'm a little iffy on. There's a 4th Powerpuff Girl now.
Oh.
And her art style is completely different, and it doesn't fit the scheme. And I'm
the
like,
new Magic School Bus on Netflix. Apparently, there's 2 Miss Frizzles.
I'm holding judgment on that one because it looks okay. Apparently,
I wasn't real enthused about the new Powerpuff Girls reboot anyway.
Yeah.
The same size school bus, that's the issue.
The other things are so that big deal with Disney and Netflix finally officially broke, and they said out loud at like a big convention recently, they're like, guess what? We're pulling all of our stuff, all the Marvel movies, all the Disney movies off Netflix. And putting
When
on
does
our
that take
service.
effect?
And that sucks because Netflix just took a big hit too, so they are not looking so good.
Yeah, when does that take effect? Do you know?
They're pulling them off soon, I think, like in a month.
Does that
Wow.
include all the series that Netflix has made? 'Cause I would be
No.
surprised
Yeah, I
with
was
that,
gonna
yeah.
say.
Let's see.
So like Defenders and the
Yes,
the,
they
the
should
series will
stay.
stay there. Okay.
Because that's
I don't know.
Netflix produced, but like currently you can go watch Doctor Strange on there,
But
but you
you won't be able to
yeah.
anymore.
Which kind of sucks.
Where are they going? Do they have their own
They're
shindig?
trying
What's-
to launch their own thing, which is interesting because they're launching their own thing, and because they own ESPN, they're actually doing the same app but different service.
So you have to
for-
pay twice. This is stupid. When are people going to realize that well, okay, actually, let me back that up a little bit, because one of the things I've said many times, and I will credit myself for saying this in the past, is that I really wish I could buy cable by channel. That I could just buy the cable channels that I actually want to watch and not get 120 for garbage. And so, on one hand, it kind of sucks that all of these companies are trying to do their own pay-for-service subscription plan. But if you were paying $100 a month for cable, I don't know, I haven't had cable since college. I don't know. But if you're going to pay some amount for cable anyway, what happens if you divide that out amongst the providers that you actually want? And is that basically buying your cable channels a la carte? So maybe I'm not as cranky about that as my knee-jerk reaction is.
Here's my thing though, right? I have a set amount I'm willing to spend on entertainment every month. If you force me to choose, I'm going to choose the more diverse providers. So I will choose Netflix. I'll choose a few other ones. I'm not going to choose the specific thing that does that, though I say that, and I just bought YouTube Red because I want to see the Game Grumps series. But otherwise, like, I don't know if I'm going to, like, I'll be like Sci-Fi had some really good stuff, and I wanted to watch it, but they're like, you either have to have cable or pay us a monthly fee, and I'm like, sorry, I don't have money for it.
Okay, so I've mentioned this in previous shows, but Liz was not around. So the issue here is that it's an entrenched utility,
Yeah,
the
we
same
get it.
way that your electric or your water is. So it's not going to be like it's going to be worse than the taxi cabs versus Uber and Lyft, because these people already have like literally entrenched stuff in the ground.
In the ground, right.
Everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So like they're not just going to drop them. There's a huge support industry for that.
Mm-hmm.
And like they're gonna fight tooth and nail, and they're gonna make this as shitty as possible. I mean, like, it's never gonna be like, here's your one channel, like the YouTube is God, but
No.
YouTube is gonna be the head God. I don't think that's gonna change.
YouTube Red is doing really shitty, by the way.
I don't know. I never use YouTube Red. We just watch YouTube.
That's the point.
Like,
I'm saying
I watch the local news on YouTube now. It's great. It's so
don't
much
have
better
as-
than watching it on TV.
they're not doing as well as they should be, and they're like, YouTube Red, we invested all this money. Come check it out, and like no one's doing it.
Oh.
Yeah.
I was
So I have,
they
like, a
did the
stupid
like free
question.
summer.
Yeah,
What?
sure.
I have this thing set in my head that YouTube Red was like YouTube's concession to having pornography. I assume that that is an
No.
incorrect assumption.
Yeah, so YouTube Red is their it's like their premium thing now.
That's a branding problem. They
Yeah.
should have thought that one through.
So what
Yeah.
it is they have a bunch of exclusive shows they put together. They work with YouTube creators and give them a bunch of money to produce an actual show.
Wait, did you think it was like they were partnering up with RedTube or something?
That's probably exactly what I thought.
I mean, that is exactly what it sounds like. I never thought of it that way, but that is very reasonable. Now we know why they're doing so poorly. Companies are like,
Everyone just they're like, why am I going to pay for porn? There's like free porn all over the internet.
exactly. And investors are like, we can't really
I'm not gonna invest in this.
publicly.
So I call a bunch of companies every day, as part of something my day job, and I've seen some bad companies. There's one that's called the Hog Slap, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
Yeah?
like what is that?
I hope they're a barbecue restaurant.
I think there's something. They actually are something to do with hogs, but I don't know what they do because I didn't pick up the phone.
They probably slap hogs.
I mean, that's what
this
I
sounds
assumed.
pretty straightforward to me. This sounds like
That
my next
doesn't sound like
D&D
solid
character.
business.
It's
It
a
Why
doesn't
there
sound
are
like
always
your
hogs
next
to
RPG
slap?
character.
I am Varys Brandyweiss, the slapper of hogs. Smack.
And we have Mike's next character.
You are a pig, sir. Max wanted to say that YouTube is shitty to its creators, but that he likes YouTube Red because he uses it for music and there's no ads or anything.
And you can
The
also
fun
put it in the
show
background on
sucks.
your phone, which should be
Yeah.
a functionality they had to begin with. But you know, charge us $10 a month. Charge us $10 a month for it. You get my money
Really?
from Hulu, so.
Like I said, we watch YouTube like almost all the time. Like,
Yep. Other things. Let's see.
Threadbare, which is an RPG, we should have talked about other RPG business, but that's fine.
Yeah, I
What's
didn't-
Threadbare?
It just didn't feel like it should have. I don't know. Maybe I should put it up there, but basically, I just want to mention it's so cool. You can play as like patchwork stuffed animals and stuff, and you fight like evil gremlins and whatever.
Ooh.
And
It
it's like,
sounds like an accompaniment to Small Fears, where
A
like
little
you
bit.
play little kids fighting monsters under the bed.
well, the thing with this is it's like all about entropy and stuff. So it's like when you take damage, you have to like stitch yourself up. So by the end of the game, you're like all patchwork and everything, and you can add stuff and subtract. I don't know.
Owen did a thing that was like a Pathfinder thing where you played dolls. It was like that.
We in
It's one of
Gonzo
his
we
many
released
million free
in
things.
Gonzo 2 we released the Sparkle Princess and the what was it called? It was like the teddy bear race as well that fit with that. So that was kind of this along that lines too.
Quick prop for a game that is awesome you can find for cheap. It's called Naughty Bear. And in Naughty Bear, you play a bear that is naughty on the island of bears. And they're all teddy bears, and you go around like murdering them in terrible, horrible ways.
I was gonna say, I think I remember this.
It's a really fun, very challenging game. Very challenging. I'm
Alright.
still like not even halfway through it.
So Mike, I got a this isn't really a story, it's a confession. I got this I play tested stuff at my college. I went to college for game design. And I know, poor choice. But I recovered with an MBA.
I went to college for English, so
I went to college
no
for
judgment.
music.
Okay,
Film
so
studies.
let's say my
You're in
master's
good company, Scott.
My master's in MBA, so we're all good here. But anyway, so we had this game. I was testing a new system, and it devolved. I was like, all right, we're gonna play a bunch of kids like Little Rascal styles and have some fun. It devolved into what I can only describe as the darkest game I've ever had, because they had to try to use their props they had as like weapons, and one of them had a hamster and a ball, and it
Oh,
started
God.
crawling in someone's eye and out the other side, and like
Oh,
we got
God.
really bad in the descriptions, and like by the end of it, we're all sitting at each other like looking at each other across the table like, I don't want to play this game anymore. I'm like, this whole thing's ripped. We're done. Nope. Good. We had kids with baseball bats caving people's skulls, and I'm like, all right, nope, we're not playing the system anymore. It devolved too quickly. Bye. Nope, I'm starting from scratch. So
Lord of the Flies.
it devolved in Lord of the Flies.
Oh, yeah.
It meant to be Little Rascals.
When I was a kid, one of my friends. we
Wait,
used
did
to
you
play in
cave
his
someone's
house a
head with a
lot.
baseball bat?
No.
Okay,
but
good.
she kept a. She was pretty weird. She played a lot of Enya. Lifetime movies were on all the time. She drank a lot of wine. And there was a 6-foot-tall pink teddy bear that she kept in the living room, like sitting in one of the armchairs for like 2 years.
Oh god.
And like, I can't even remember what her reasoning for having the teddy bear there was, but like, there was no getting her to remove it. Like, there was just no way. Like, I think eventually they just like snuck in and took it and just got rid of it. But yeah, it was so creepy because you'd like walk in to go like grab soda or something in the fridge during the break, and like, in the shadow, like backlit,
Ugh.
the fucking Lifetime TVs and like Enya and like this fucking 6-foot-tall pink teddy bear there in the corner. Yeah, it was very memorable.
I dated a girl who had a cutout of Edward Cullen, who she hid around the house to scare the shit out of me.
Yeah.
See
I
that?
love this. I love this girlfriend of yours.
No, she was a
Yeah,
psycho.
that's good. It reminds me of the time that my college dorm mates took the the Night of the Living Dummy. They had that dummy and they set it
God.
in a chair in the living room, and bad.
All right, we seem to have
Not
diverged
okay.
a little bit here.
Well, Max also wanted to add that Good Game, which is a show co-written by Jesse Cox and the Game Grumps. So
Yep,
you might
that's what I was
be
talking
interested.
about. Yep, that's the one.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
It's man writing, but it's a pretty decent comedy.
It's
And then he
it's
talks
pretty
about how
funny.
he looks to getting a job because he's getting a computer engineering degree. So good for you, Max. I hope you do. Good.
Hey, yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah,
Good
you
Game
can,
is
you
really
can
funny.
support to the Game Designers Relief Fund, and for all of us who got less good grades.
But yeah, Good Game, I'll mention it again, is really funny. It's written by the guy who wrote Rick and Morty. It has the Game Grumps on it. They both have very different, or they're very similar to what they are on the show, but they are still very funny. Dan is
You know what?
has got this very like comedian and a comedy vibe going on, and Aaron has this. He actually has legitimate screen presence, and he's a good actor. But Dan just sits out there like super hippie dude, like the entire. I know he's really damn funny too. Speaking of Rick and Morty, the guy who voices him, did you guys hear when he called
The prank call, Joel. Yeah,
Joel
that was pretty
Osteen's
funny.
church? Oh my
It
god.
was pretty good. He gets the line. I mean, I don't want to ruin it. You should check it out.
Go watch it. It's he calls a prayer line, and the responses he gets are Ricky Tiki Tavi. They're good.
Yeah.
Um,
I did want to mention because I brought this up like last night with a friend at the bar. How like, so I'm looking forward to soon getting VR capability, and I've been playing a lot of VR games whenever I get the chance. And one of them was called VR Accounting. It's written by Dan Harmon,
yeah. Over
and like it loads you in, and you're you're like standing there in this office, and they're talking to you, and they tell you to like find this tape, and you load it in, and then it like sucks you into another world, and basically, I can't imagine a user interface that would have worked for that game if it wasn't in a VR environment.
That's cool. I love
Yeah.
using the medium.
Yeah, because like there's a lot of cool things about it, but like I'm like thinking on all the stuff I played so far, and I played probably a couple dozen games. I got in a couple hours in. The tilt brush is the best. It's the sculpting thing.
Yeah.
It's fucking the best. Yes, it's just like their paint, but like it's so cool. But yeah, the VR accounting thing was really the first one where it's like, oh shit, you could not do this without this. Birdly was a little different because it had a hydraulic machine involved, but like, yeah,
So
Birdly was the best. If you ever get the chance to do Birdly, you should look that shit up. Lets you be a bird. You feel like you're flying. It's fucking amazing, 100%. Oh my god.
So are we? We're gonna go on to the Kickstarters here.
Yeah. Is that the next section?
Yeah.
Kickstarter?
So I
Well-
want. Can I say? There's an update to one of the ones we have here. City of Seven Seraphs has just funded during this show.
Yay!
Congrats, man! Congrats! Well done. They're already a few $100 over it too. That was a close one. It came down to the last like 2 days or something. It's gonna go way over.
Yep,
the
they were
28K.
just above 48 hours when I last looked.
Yep. And
I
they
was
just.
actually
Yeah.
on the page looking at it just to see how it was doing, and I watched it click over to get funded.
that's
I was
so
like,
cool.
whoa!
Yeah, so congrats to the first. That is awesome. He's doing. He told me today he's doing the Panpari artwork.
Congrats, man.
So, but yeah, that's
He's
cool.
doing
That's
a
kind of
what?
the first thing I wanted to just talk about in there.
That's all. I didn't know.
What else
Oh.
we got here?
What's he doing?
Was there any Seventh Seraph stuff that you want to talk about, Liz?
Yeah. From my exceptionally nerdy spot, I just think it's a really, really cool idea, and I've been talking to Kristen about working as part of the editorial team on it, so
Cool.
Awesome.
I'm excited.
Be kind to the Watchtower and the Pan Academia.
I shine everything equally.
For anyone who is not familiar, this is like a planar city, not unlike Sigil. It's like a capstone for campaign. So after you've finished it and you're 18th level, where do you go? You go to the City of Seven Seraphs. Although
So
it is
Pathfinder
applicable
compatible.
for Pathfinder compatible, and you can play from like first level and onward. Although Max,
You just gotta be careful.
you would not like it because it is in the style of Mike's GMing, and they will pound you down if they are 20th level counters.
Also, they're probably not sniper rifles.
Probably not sniper rifles.
So, what other ones we got here? Legendary Starfinder? 5e
Oh yeah, so Legendary Games is working on a couple of projects for Starfinder, which I can talk about because I'm working on them. So one of the things we're doing is taking the Legendary Planet Adventure Path and converting that into Starfinder rules. It's a very Sword and Planet style adventure.
Ooh, I love that.
And so it works in Pathfinder rules, but it also fits really, really well to the Starfinder rules. So
Cool.
we've been converting that over about one every probably 6 weeks to 2 months. You'll see those come out. They're big volumes. They'll carry your group for a while. And then sort of building on that is a second project, which is a large bestiary compendium for both Starfinder and 5e. That's a Kickstarter that's been going for about a week. And that is funded, and the stretch goals are really participatory, so you can get in and have a lot of input into what the final product will look like.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I don't have any other ones, honestly.
I do not either. Looks like we have. Oh, that's just the link there for the
Yeah,
Starfinder stuff. So yeah, that's all I got. Also, as a time check, it is 6:11, which I believe gets us 19 minutes from our 2-hour block.
Okay.
Yes.
So, Liz, you got a few minutes? If there's anything you just want to talk about, is there anything that's burning in your heart right now that you just need to tell the world?
Oh, yeah. Well, no, not really. I mean, one of the things about being an editor is that, like, nobody becomes an editor because they want to get famous. We are really, really
true.
behind the scenes people, and I think there's some really cool stuff going on in the RPG industry right now. Whereas the industry is growing, and a lot of publishers are getting more experienced and further developed. We're seeing a lot more investing in that kind of production quality that involves editors. So, like, yay, I get more work. But it's it's always going to be a behind the scenes thing, and we're just here quietly doing our thing and making stuff awesome. Most of the time because we like what we do.
Well, can I ask you a question then? What do you think
sure
about DM's Guild and similar programs?
Tell me a little bit more about it.
Oh, so you're not familiar with
It's
DM's?
not one I'm familiar with.
Okay, all right. I feel like they should because I have an enormous bias.
Let's say, Mike, you and I are both in the production side of things, so in the formatting, putting them out stuff. So I think we're kind of the most biased on this, but we hear it a lot.
Savannah, can you explain what the DM's Guild is for Liz?
I don't know that I'm familiar enough. Honestly,
Alright,
I know that we
so
talked about it a couple
has
weeks
made
ago,
this,
but it's not my area.
Official Dungeons and Dragons marketplace, and you are allowed to write stuff using the Forgotten Realms and other Wizards of the Coast material and IP. But here's the deal: everything you write becomes owned by the DM's Guild.
Right. Yes, I heard a little bit about this when it first launched, and then promptly apparently forgot all of it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so it's been going on, and they take a bigger share, so they take 50% rather than 35, which is normally what Drive-Thru does.
Mm-hmm.
And then what's happened, or what I think has happened, is that it's gotten this like notice me senpai thing going on, right? Where it's a bunch of people who are amateurs, they don't take it very professionally, they don't spend very much money creating their products. So there's the ownership, the IP thing, and the extra cut makes it not feasible for real publishers to engage with it.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's like really disturbing to me because like I thought that it would just fall flat on its face, which is kind of what happened, right? Like you don't find anything really on there that's worth very much money, or that you'll make much money on, right? I think everything is pretty much $10 or under. I don't think there's anything $10. And then Vampire decided to do the same thing. What, right? Isn't Vampire doing it? And then like
something similar.
Yeah, like there's a lot of places starting to do similar stuff, and Morris was talking about doing one for What's Old is New, and I was like, no, please don't. Like, yeah, I don't know. It's a disturbing trend that I do not like myself.
Right. I mean, my first knee-jerk reaction to that is that, My knee-jerk reaction to that is if you're writing something and you're handing over total ownership of it to somebody else, that raises my hackles. But then I sort of think about that and like actually most RPG design that you're doing as a contractor or freelancer is also sort of under that. But if you're designing your own stuff and publishing it yourself, you should be retaining ownership of that. And I feel pretty strongly about that. You know, that if you're, especially if you're not getting as big a cut on it, and you're, you know, that you're making certain other sacrifices, like, then you're also handing away ownership of it, so that if like if you came up with a really badass idea that was mechanically fantastic, then like Hasbro can go make more money off of it, but screw you. I'm not keen on that. That makes me very uncomfortable. I guess I'm a much bigger supporter of things like open game systems, where you can make things that are compatible, but maintain the ownership of them.
Yeah.
Well, this feeds into my paranoia about like the Hasbro Russian mafia treatment of the third-party market for 5e.
Yeah. I feel like I sort of have some inherent bias in that, just based on my employer, so I can't.
Sure.
I guess I'm not going to say anything more about that. We'll leave it there.
Yeah. The Paizo is great at supporting third-party publishers, and I wish that everyone took their example.
I wish more. I'm really glad for the companies that do. I'm glad to see a lot of people following that model.
Yeah. All right. A funny caveat. So I still don't think there's been any news on this, but on the D&D Beyond website, they have like a homebrew thing you can add your own monsters and stuff. I'm still pretty sure you're not allowed to take your stuff from DM's Guild, which I'll remind everyone is the official Dungeons & Dragons marketplace, and put it on the official Dungeons & Dragons homebrew site for their online tools.
But you can't put stuff in both places.
No, you cannot. Because you lose ownership of it and becomes owners of DM Guild.
Also, Liz, you mentioned to me your novel. Is that something that you want to talk about, or?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I can. I can't. You know, it's not like I'm gonna. I don't have anything exciting like I got a book deal with Tor for $1 million and it'll be out next week. But I've been writing for years and years and years, and I'm at the point where I have moved from writing to editing. And for all that I'm an editor for a day job, and for all that I'm, you know, people say that when you're writing a book, like the hardest part is to sit down and write, and they are fucking liars, because editing is way worse. This has been particularly challenging, but it's, you know, I'm moving through it, and I've got some beta readers giving me really good feedback, and I have like a trajectory towards going out and going after publication. So that's, you know, the big scary thing in my life right now is like the big unknown of whether this is going to fly or not.
I was going to ask you, as someone who is primarily an editor, how do you, like, they always say, oh, turn off your inner editor and just write. I don't have an inner editor anymore. Like, it's just all of me, and like, I'll write a paragraph and it's hard.
You know, I ascribe to two things. I actually am a passionate advocate for NaNoWriMo. I think the National Novel Writing Month program is a really good incentive to get a lot of support in getting off your butt and just making words happen. And that's what I've actually used to generate the habits to make words happen. You can always fix words later, but you can't fix nothing. So that's been really helpful for me. The other one I ascribe to is write drunk, edit sober. I do a lot of writing with an adult beverage nearby, and I found that really helps. That and good immersive music, and a good.
We've talked about that before.
Yeah, I use, you know, I have a different sort of like computer workspace for when I'm writing. I use Scrivener. I don't have other stuff open. So when I'm in Scrivener, I'm not editing. I'm writing. And so it sort of is you're changing gears in a different brain space for me.
John Cleese has this awesome. Oh, go ahead.
I was also going to ask what sort of adult beverage, because it's not necessarily true for everybody, but I know lots of folks are affected differently depending on what they drink. You know,
I've found that to be true too, and I've only found it out really recently. I'm very excited by this, and I'm doing a lot of experimenting. So yeah, no, it really depends on what I'm doing and what I'm trying to turn out. I am a passionate advocate for Aldi grocery stores. They're a German chain that does really cheap groceries.
And they own Trader Joe's.
And they also, yeah, they're their own, yeah, same company that does Trader Joe's. But at Aldi, you can get, you guys are gonna laugh at me, you can get these containers of white German white wine, just like generic, inexpensive white wine. You get a box for like $11, and it's like 12 glasses of wine, and so it's a super cost-effective way to drink.
Yeah, I was gonna say box wine has actually come a long way from $3.
It's come a very long way, and it's very common in Europe, and you know, so I sound ridiculous saying this. I also sound like I'm totally a drunkard. I go through maybe a box every 2 weeks with my spouse, so it's not like I'm
Right.
Yeah, but that's
You don't do
sort of my
that
go-to because I'm a contractor and a freelancer and I don't have a lot of money.
So one of the
Oh,
things
man.
is when I had to write Necropunk, you know what I ended up doing? I got Red Bull and vodka, and then more
That's
Monster,
a terrible plan.
and then everything.
Professional Goblins podcast does not advocate the use of uppers and downers simultaneously.
Simultaneously.
That's right.
Scott's views are entirely his own.
It got a lot of
careful.
stuff written.
I was gonna say it probably got the job done.
It was
Oh, I'm
great.
sure, but
Oh, I'll be right
I have
back.
to try different types of booze because, like, I can't drink and write every time I try to sit.
Probably the same things affect different people differently. So, and also like I should be really straightforward. My father was a recovered alcoholic, and you know it's not for everyone. And if that's not your thing, then you absolutely shouldn't feel, absolutely no pressure. And there are tea, hot cocoa, no beverages at all. Girl Scout cookies, whatever floats your boat to help you get into the headspace. Really is more than anything else. Is what gets you into where you need to be to tell that story.
The other thing I wanted to bring up, so John Cleese has this awesome lecture he did in like 1984. It's in German television, whatever, doesn't matter. If you look up John Cleese creativity, you'll find it. Basically, he explains how there's this creative play mode and work mode. So like when you're filling out forms and stuff, most of the time you're in the work mode, generally. But when you're in the play mode, that's when it's best to do creative stuff. So like, and this is like one of the dudes who found Monty Python, so obviously one of the most creative motherfuckers on the planet. He was like, yeah, so like after the first hour or so of riffing and hanging out, that's when we'd start to get good material. But like there's that hour where it would take us to like get in the right mode of creativity and stuff. Yeah.
So I'm being
and I know
informed
a
by my
lot
wife
of
that I'm
writers-
being a little overtime right now. So also, I wanted to show you guys something. I brought this back from Vegas. This is a it goes around your head. It is a thing that is like 40 ounces of something, and that something was Red Bull and vodka. So, dude,
Scott's
kids
views
don't
are
do-
again entirely his own.
His own, yes.
Yep.
Well, I was gonna mention, you've never done a bag night, where you
A
just
what?
get a box of wine and everyone rolls around in like sheets with the bag of wine over their shoulder, and
That sounds
You know?
wonderful.
it is.
I have no idea what this.
Oh my god, yeah, it's a great thing. So everybody who walks in the party, you just give them a bag of wine, and then like a sheet, and then they prepare themselves like they're like old, Grecian people, and then you just keep the bag of wine slung over your shoulder all night and drink from it until it's gone.
okay.
So guys, don't drink and drive. Don't drink and
Do not drink and drive. Do not drink more than you can
drink
handle.
and write, apparently.
Don't drink and derive.
That is true too.
Also, don't drink and edit.
Drink if you're not of legal drinking age in your place of residence.
Also true. Also true.
Don't drink if it's illegal to do so.
Yes.
So guys,
There we go. Blink it.
Can we wrap soon? Are we?
Yeah. Are we doing?
Yeah, I think we're good.
Munchausen?
I don't think I can go tonight.
I don't think my kidneys are up to Munchausen, and we're past time.
All right. So,
All right.
Guys, once again, thank you for joining us. Hopefully, you
Yeah, Liz,
will,
thank you for coming on the show. It was
yeah,
awesome.
Oh, thanks so much for having me,
Yeah,
guys.
it's been great.
All right, guys. Have a nice one.